Hello everyone, I'm Kailadbou Daimai from India, and today I'll be presenting on nominalization and its various functions in Liangmai. Let me share the screen. Okay, so this is the outline of the presentation. I'll give a brief introduction of nominalization and about the language and its typological overview and about the data. And then we'll talk about derivational or lexical nominalization and clausal nominalization and concluding remarks. Nominalization is one of the most prominent characteristics and a highly productive phenomenon of the Tibeto-Burman languages. Different scholars have worked on nominalization in TB languages. It refers to the process by which we derive nominals from a word of another class. The study of nominalization in TB languages begins quite recently with Matisov's seminal paper, Lahu, Nominalization, Genitivization, and Relativization, 1972. The functions of nominalization, relativization, and genitivization in Lahu are marked by the same particle they. A similar complex of functions revolving around a single morpheme occurs in other Tibeto-Burman languages, Denancy, 2002-56. This morphological convergence of syntactic functions was dubbed the standard Sino-Tibetan nominalization pattern, Bickel, 1999-271, and has been reported in many studies to attest on a number of TB languages. Two levels of nominalization process are observed, lexical or derivational and clausal. Derivational nominalization refers to the process which creates lexical nouns from words of other lexical categories, usually the verb root, while clausal nominalization operates in the domain of clause and works at syntactic level to allow a grammatical clause to be treated as a noun phrase within a broader syntactic context. Geneti et al. 2008. Both these nominalization processes are attested in Liangmai. Different nominalizers are found in Liangmai. They are Bo, Bam, Mai, Ra, Ka, Pa. Okay, the language Liangmai is a Tibeto-Burman language spoken in the northeastern part of India in the states of Nagaland and Manipur. Its population is estimated to be around 50,000 according to 2011 Census of India. And Grayson said this about the language. The language appears to be an intermediate one between the Naga-Bodo and the Naga-Kuki group. The pronouns agree best with the letter, and so I class it here, though its geographical position would incline one to put it with the former set of languages. Grayson, 1903-462. Morrison classed Liangmai in his type B3 group. Bradley, 1997, in his classification of Tibeto-Burman, put Liangmai in Zhelengrong group of Southern Naga. Berling, 2003, put Liangmai in Daimai group. Post and Berling, 2017, referred to this Daimai group as Western Naga. Liangmai is a verb final language. The A argument of a transitive clause is typically marked with adjective new, though not obligatory, whereas the animate O argument is marked with a primary object marker 2. The inanimate O remains unmarked. See Daimai and Raguibo 2020 for more details. Noun phrases are head medial with variable ordering of modifiers. Adjectivals can occur in both pre and post head positions. Personal pronoun proclitics are prefixed to the root of a noun, as in lu, first person possessive, farm, my farm, the lu, second person possessive, farm, your field or your farm. The possessor noun phrase can also be marked with the possessive enclitic gu, suffix to the possessor of the head noun, as in agu, chelu. First person marker, we have possessive or genitive marker, and then farm, my farm. And similarly, we have nagu, chelu, which is your farm. The dependent clauses generally precede the metric clause. All verb roots are bound, and it can be freestanding word only if it is minimally suffixed by an inflectional marker. Daimai and Sinha, 2020, 127. It is a tonal language. The data is collected from Tamenglong town, Manipur, and as a native speaker, I also rely on my knowledge of the language for that data elicitation. And available written sources like the Holy Bible and my old field notes are taken into account for the data. Derivational or lexical nominalization. A lexical noun is derived mainly from verbs and sometimes even from nouns. Verbal nouns are highly productive and are widely attested in normal discourse and speech acts, and it can had and can be. The nominalizing suffixes are bo, bum, and mai. Nominalizing prefix are ka and pa. Nominalizer bo. The nominalizing suffix bo is plurifunctional. It is used as a general nominalizer in Liangmai. It is highly productive and can be suffixed to all verb roots to derive deverbal nouns. It is used to derive abstract nouns. For example, we have a word ping, which means afraid, whereas pingbo means fear, as in pa pingbo hai. He has no fear. Similarly, the following abstract nouns are derived by suffixing nominalizer bo to root verbs: lungsa, love; lungsabo, love; sai, die; saibo, dead; masan, clean; masanbo, cleanliness; kim, satisfy; kimbo, satisfaction; matha, happy; mathabo, happiness, and so on. Verb roots are in bound form, and to be a freestanding word, it is usually suffixed by bo, which produce verbal nouns. All verbal roots can be nominalized by suffixing bo. See Daimai 2019 for more details. We have tubo, tu plus nominalizer, tubo, to eat; ibo, kaibo, wibo, ubo. Gerunds are also formed by adding the nominalizing suffix bo to verbs. Example, we have zao sako chapum leng sai, which means drinking wine is bad for body. Drinking is injurious to health. Matthew knew we kapo ngawe. Everyone see or saw that woman crying. Adjectives are obligatorily nominalized in Liangmai. The nominalizer Bo is suffixed to adjectival verbs. We have Siam is small, Siambo, which is adjectival. And similarly, other examples are also given here. Nominalizer bum. This bum derives a locational noun from verbs. For example, we have Jung, Pi, Jung bum, place to Pi, Kahum, pray, Kahum bum, place to pray. And even from noun, like Chawang, king, and Chawang bum, Chong. Nominalizer, my. Nouns and verbs can be nominalized by the agentive nominalizer, my, to derive an agentive noun. This derivation usually denote either a type of agent or a referent whose habitual activity is characterized by the meaning denoted by the nominal base in the case of nominalization of noun, literally the one who has to do with noun. In the case of nominalization of verbal base, it denotes the meaning, the one who verbs. So we have noun here, num, and nominalizer, my, and gives it, and it means villager. And we have can, which is a verb, meaning read, and we have nominalizer, and we have new lexical item, which is reader. The nominalizing prefix ka. This prefix is found on a handful of verbs creating nouns. We have sai, die, kasai, det, tu, tain, katiu, buel, or foreigner. Tat, go, katat, katat, journey, or mission. It is possible that the nominalizer ka in Liangmai is cognate with proto-TB-K. The nominalizing prefix pa. When used with stative verb roots, the resulting words denote abstract entity. Thing, long, a thing, length. D, big, a D, breadth. Suk, deep, a suk, depth. When attached to any action-oriented roots, it indicates the meaning of, the manner of, or the way of. For example, we have tat, walk, and when we say patat, it means the way of his or her walking. Z is sleep, or Z, the way of his or her sleeping. Note that in the nominalized form, there is a rising tone. Clausal nominalization. Nominalization is a measured tool for creating various types of syntactic structures, such as nominalized clause, relative clause, and complement clause. The nominalizer bow is used to form these clauses. The suffix bow may be used to nominalize a clause. In 13, bow functions as nominalizer since it enables a verb to stand before a postposition. Panai wang buka, when they both come. In 14, it is a nominal status of the verb which allows to take case marking. Papiu wang betu pa ngawe. He saw his father coming. Nominalization is the main strategy to form relative clause, formed by the addition of the nominalizer bow to the embedded verb or clause. We have example like Danai Inu, Liu Bo, Ariaksi, Kianwiye. The book which I bought yesterday is good to read. Liangmai exhibits externally headed relative clauses where the relativized noun occurs to the right of the clause. A determiner or emphatic marker followed the head noun. In complementation, the nominalizer bo is suffixed to the predicate of the complementation. For example, we have Panu Jau Sakbo I Kame. I stop his drinking. Panu Dinbo I Malume. I believe in his saying or I believe in what he said. So in concluding remarks, we have seen that there are various lexical nominalizer, both prefix and suffix in the language. Some are quite productive, while some are not. And adjectivals are derived by nominalization. Deverbal nouns functions as gerunds or infinitives. Clausal nominalization by Bo produces structures like relativization and complementation. The nominalizer Bo is the most common and the most productive one among all the nominalizers. The plurifunctional nature of Bo is similar to the way particle in Lahu. These are the references. Thank you.